This is a presentation of Senior Stories, a collection of interviews with senior citizens from the Elvira Cisneros Center in San Antonio, Texas. This project is in collaboration with Bill House Arts. To learn more about the services and programs that Bill House Arts offers in San Antonio, go to BIHLHAUSARTS.org. That's billhousearts.org. I'm going to ask you a series of questions and just take your time answering. Okay, so please tell me your name, when you were born, and where you were born.
My name is Larry Burns, and I was born here in San Antonio, and my age is January 7, 1935. I lived mostly on the south side. I wasn't born there on Pyron Avenue, but I came there as a young child, and I lived there for quite a while, and then my 7th and 8th grade was at St. Leo's, and then from there I went to 4 years of high school at Central Catholic High School, and that's all the education I've had. And I spent 44 years in the San Antonio Fire Department. I came in 1986, and I stayed till 2000, so I've been retired now 24 years.
Okay. And so you've lived in San Antonio all your life?
Oh, yes.
And how has San Antonio changed in all that time? I know it's a lot.
The most thing you can see is the traffic. Where I used to live a little bit south of here, of this center, I had to stand out there and look on Pleasant Road just to see a car go by. Now you can't hardly get out in the place. So traffic is one of the bigger things. And then that's mostly what I can think of right now is just traffic. And more population, of course. And
all that time in the fire department as a firefighter, I'm sure you have some stories. Is there any particular incident while you were a firefighter that has just stayed with you your whole life, that just always pops out?
In the 44 years that I've been there, it was a wonderful job. I don't know what else I could have done to have stayed in there with my good friends. And the biggest thing I saw in my career was an airplane crash just north of Kelly Field, and the plane crashed and burnt 3 houses, and it was a pilot and a co-pilot in the plane, and it crashed short of the field. And I was the first company on the scene with a small crash truck to put the fire out. We had to put foam on it because that smothers the fire. You can't put water on that, and it burnt the plane up. I had that, and I had a gasoline truck fall off the expressway and catch on fire with a lot of heat. And in 44 years, there's so many things that you could make a book on that. I was an EMT, emergency medical technician, and a lot of times we would get to the scene before the ambulance. We were first responder, and I've seen so many different things that were awful that some of them I couldn't even hardly describe to you. But anyway, I had a lot of good friends in there, and my drill school class has probably all passed away because, like I say, I'm 90.
Was there any incident during your years as a firefighter that just totally changed you? Was there one incident or a series of incidents that just totally changed your perspective or changed the way you thought or the way you looked at things?
No, but I just saw it as a way of helping people, which I like to do anyway. And we were called not just for fires, but it was for all kinds of things. Just getting people out of a bathtub and bringing them down the stairs and getting an injured person out of a car. That's real hard to do because we had to put a backboard there. And we would help the paramedics themselves. Like I said, I'm not a paramedic, I was the EMT. And that's mostly what it was, is I've always liked to help people. And then I have a job that I get paid to do that job, to help people. And that's what I like. And I had good friends in there. It's like comradeship that you can't imagine when you're in a fire department, when you're going in a burning building and fire's behind your back and you're wearing a breathing apparatus, which you have to get used to something like that. You've got 50 pounds of extra gear on you when you put all of your gear on to fight a fire. And when I first came in, we didn't use breathing apparatus. We just breathed the smoke. And the station I was at, the alarms just go off suddenly. You don't get this wake-up call real slow and take your time and dress and all that. You get an alarm bell that rings all of a sudden. and it just pops you out of there. You pull up your bunker pants, go to the fire truck and put on your coat, and you're going out there. And at the very beginning, we carried nothing like a map, not even a paper map. Today, the fire trucks have the GPS and so much more. I couldn't begin to describe it because I've been gone 24 years, and I don't even know what the new fire department, what they have today, but I've still got some friends, but they're not my original friends. I'm to make new friends. Just like this center, this place is family because I have friends here that if I'm missing a day here, they call you to see if you're okay. It's a family. This place is good. It shows comradeship. We have security guard here, security. We can feel safe here because you know how it is today. Things are not quite the same. Really different. Talking about the things I see now that wasn't in my day. It wasn't like all of these different real bad, tragic incidents and things like that. So that's mostly what I have to say about that. But like I say, if you're missing here, a friend's going to call you to see if you're okay. But usually you're not okay. You're okay, but you go to the doctors now a lot.
Yeah.
So we discuss each other's problems, and I'll tell you what's wrong with me, and I listen to you. That's the way it is. It's a good comradeship. But today it's just the fire stations. When I came in, a number of them was 28 fire stations. Now there's double that. In my day, it was no such thing as a fence, fencing the fire station in. No fence, no fences. Now there's fences. So you can see that's a difference right there. And the way people are meeting some people today, it's just bad. I had friends, and I had good friends in those days, my comrades, my fire buddies that worked with me. I was a lieutenant. The buddies that worked with me, I depended on them that you can't imagine when you go into a burning building and you got that fire hose in your hand and you want to know how to get back out of there. I used to hang on to that fire hose like everything because you got to know how to get back out of some of these places. And that can be scary because I've been scared before. I can't kid you about that. So that's the main things I can think of right now.
And you've been retired for 24 years, but are you still involved in any way with the fire department? Do you go to their events? Because I know when I've spoken to military vets, they talk about, even though they've been retired for 20 or 30 years, that there's still a brotherhood there, that there's still sisterhood there, that they always go to the events and everything. Is there anything like that with you with the fire department here in San Antonio?
Yes. We have two wonderful parties. One of them is at the Fire Union Hall. It's called the Old Timers Party, which that really tells you what it is. It's old timers. And you can see guys in there that they've changed because it's been a long time. They don't look the same. And I have a hard time with names and faces anyway. And I actually have to ask them their names sometime. So that's one party. Then another real big party is at the Shriners. And that's for police and fire. And that's a very big party. And you see your friends there, and you get a real good meal. And it's just comradeship. And you can still see these people that you worked with, but they're getting fewer and fewer.
But you make new friends at these parties.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Like you said, because you meet younger firefighters, younger police officers who want to compare stories or who want to hear your stories or hear your experience, I'm sure. So do you share those stories with those younger firefighters, and do they ask you for advice?
Yes, I've had some of that. They said I helped them, I taught them stuff, but to me it seems like that don't register with me because I don't know what I could have taught you. But I was a lieutenant, and there was a girl in the training academy, and she wanted to come to 25. She wanted to come to my station because I was there. So that shows you what it was like. I have a good reputation. When I retired, they had for the fire and police, they had the big party downtown. And my wife and I got to sit with the fire chief because of my time in there, I guess. And it was just a real big honor. It was an honor that I got to do that. My wife and I got to sit with the fire chief. So that's most of my stories on that.
When you were young, though, because kids, when they're little, they say, oh, I want to become a professional athlete or I want to become a police officer. Did you always want to become a firefighter, or was it something that you grew into or just dropped into?
Oh, no. I didn't want to always become a firefighter, not by any means. But the way that really worked out was in downtown at Martin and St. Mary's, that there was a drug place there that sold items to pharmacies, and I was an order filler. And I worked there 18 months, and that was close to 1955 or 56. Right across the street was fire station number 2, and that's where I go talk to the firemen. And of course, from that's how I got to take my test and get in the fire department. But at that time, in the fire department in 1956, they were taking big fellas, big guys, and I just was lucky to get in because I was not a big guy, and I got in anyway. It might sound really funny, but this is a true story. I had to try to gain weight to get in the fire department, but I was just normally a normal weight. I wasn't going to gain weight because I'm normal. So the doctor said, what you can do, the best thing to do is to drink water, because water weighs 8 pounds to a gallon. I drank a lot of water before the city weighed me for the scale, and I made it by maybe a half an ounce. I don't know. I don't know what I made it by, but I drank water to get in, and that's a true story. And not everybody knows that. But I was lucky to get in. I appreciated the job. I respected the job, didn't drink on the job, and I had a good firemen, good people that worked with me, and some of them are still here today. And I depended on them, and I guess they depended on me. And that lady that was in the academy, she wanted to come to 25, be on my shift, and I worked with her, and she was a wonderful firefighter. Now she's retired, but she was a captain. She became a captain. Now the fire chief we have is a lady fire chief, the first one in the city. But we have good things. We had not a seminar, but a screening just the other day for cancer. We got to go to the new training academy. Daughter took me there. I live with my daughter. And we had this cancer screening where they're checking your arms and all of you for cancer. Because I've had skin cancer. That's one of the things you have to watch how in the fire department you go into these places that are real dirty. And in my day, we wore the same boots on the dirty floors and bring it back into the fire station. And our fire coats, the heavy bunker gear, the heavy coats, when you go into a fire today, they have a truck that have a deal that comes out there and they wash all those. But we never did that with ours. But I don't have cancer. I don't have a bad back. I could have it from getting people out of their cars. And I don't have that. So I've been real fortunate. I've been real fortunate to get in, and nobody stays 44 years anymore. That's out. I get a good pension. I get good medical. And I live with my daughter. My wife passed away in 2002. So the fire department was good to me, and I did what I was supposed to do.
And being that you worked in a pharmacy and then would talk to the firefighters, they obviously influenced you a lot. Was there one particular person that really influenced you, or that was your mentor that you looked up to when you first started out?
I can't think of a single person, but they were just all good fellas that I was there with them, and the fire trucks there, and the captain, and they talked to me a lot, and then I'd go back to the drug company, and I just was there at that number 2 for just a lunch hour. But I can't think right off of anyone that's a long time ago that influenced me. But in general, it influenced me. The firemen that were there influenced me. Must have been 5 firemen, and then I came in to talk with them and I visited with them. But I was only 21 years old. So
it sounds like being in the fire department was a huge part of your life. But is there any particular incident? And whether as a father or a husband or a firefighter or just as a human being in general, that you're most proud of in life? What would you say, if you could pick one moment in your life that you say you are most proud of as an individual, what would that be?
Just like I said before, I didn't abuse the job. You're there with privacy. It's just yourself. If you wanted to drink on the job, nobody would know it. I didn't let that happen on my shift. And that's one of the things. I was never an alcoholic. I never smoked. And things like that. I took care of the job, and I appreciated the job. They were good firefighters, and they did a good job along with me. We'd have to hang on to that hose and put fires out and be careful that we could get back out of the burning building. That could scare you.
So it sounds like you were surrounded by good people your whole life.
Oh, yes, that's true. I don't have any enemies. I've had people who treat me really fine. In fact, the funny little story is, I was at the restaurant the other day with my daughter. There's two firemen sitting a little ways over there. So I get up from my meal and I go talk to them, and I don't know them because, of course, they're a lot newer. And this one guy, he remembered, he said, when I retired, I came back the next day just to sleep at the fire station. I don't even remember that. He remembers stuff like that. It's just incredible what the things that they tell you that they remember, and it surprises you because you don't remember it yourself.
Yeah.
And things like that. I've got a few burns on my face when I was in the fire department, but nothing real serious that could have been worse.
Yeah. You're a very fortunate person because there's not a lot of people that are lucky enough to surround themselves with good people or have support their whole life.
Oh, yeah.
So you've led a pretty good life, it sounds like.
Oh, that's true. I just really, even here at the center, I've got nothing but friends here. This is family.
Yeah, that's
the big
good.
thing to think about is I'm a person that gets bored real easy. I have to have something like the fire department. I've got to go running after grass fires. I've got to get in the grass fire to get all that smoke and find my way back out of there. I've got to ride on that fire truck, and even when I was a private, just a firefighter, you'd hang on the back with a bar, not even a safety belt. Today, you sit inside the truck. I had to hang on the back. You'd go out no matter whether it was raining or snowing or hot, middle of the night, anytime. One time we laid the line 3 times. That's really rare, the 1.5 inches. That's the line that carries the water that's in the truck, that's in the apparatus. And then we'd make these fires, we'd have a fire burning, and if I was the first one there, I would have to say what we had on fire and to tell the other companies that was arriving what I wanted them to do, which mostly meant you're going to lay a line. Laying a line means you better know where that fire truck's at. I knew all of my streets. I don't know how many there was, but 400 or more, I don't know. I can still tell you those streets today, right in line, and lots of fire plugs. I remember where they are, and hundreds of them to remember that. I think that's good. Now they got the GPS and all that. I go visit the guys at 22 sometime, and I know a few of them over there, and they just fine fellas. I may go over and watch a football game or things like that. It's a comradeship that you go to another city and go to a fire station. It's all over the city. It's all over the country. You're affirmative. Yeah. It's a different kind of a job. It's something that you can be proud of if you like that. I'm a doing person. I'm not a bookworm. I'm a doing person. And that job suited me just fine. Because like I say, they wanted to come on my shift.
So you can go to Boston and you can go into a fire station in Boston and they'll just say, hey, I'm a former firefighter, and they'll just accept you. They'll just say, hey, come right in.
Caesar, I've done that.
Okay.
I've gone to Seattle with my nephew, and we knock on the door and stay there.
Oh, nice.
And that's just one place, but there are probably others.
Yeah.
And that's what it's like. So it was a good job. I was really lucky to have good pay, a good salary for 44 years and then a pension. So it's good. The city's been good to the firemen. They're still good.
Yeah, that's nice.
So
that's excellent.
It's just that it's a time that, I'm getting older, and it's just don't abuse anything. Don't be on that stuff that they're on today that, so much of that, I don't know what it is, cigarettes and what do they call it, what they make with that methamphetamine?
Oh, meth.
Yeah. That meth and stuff like that, to ruin yourself. Why do you want to do that? You can have problems with your physical health without that kind of stuff. Then to do that silly vaping stuff, why do you want to do that? I don't understand it.
Yeah, I was going to say, because you're 90 and you're still very healthy. You're still moving around. You're still walking. You're coming in to the center and eating tacos and everything.
If you've got good health, you better appreciate it, because you can do things to mess yourself up. And it's just, if you get a job and do your job right, that's the kind of things. I worked under 7 fire chiefs, 7, in all 3 shifts, A, B, and C. I came in on the B and then the C, and then the A shift was losing their officer. they wanted me to switch over and come to them. They wanted me on their shift.
Yeah. So it sounds like you were very well respected between all the fire stations.
Yeah, I just seen the fire chief the other day, and Chief Medina, he was my district chief when I retired, and he gave me a big hug because, see, real recently the fire department built a clinic for us, fire and police retired, a clinic for us free. And we can get blood tests and all kinds of bone scans and, I don't know, all kinds of stuff there, and it's free. Right there, Roosevelt, close to where I live. And that's what they do for us. It's a good pension fund. It's a good health fund. And that's what we've got.
Nice.
And people that get in there, they should appreciate it. They're not quite that way today. They're not quite like that. The guys have told me it's not like when we came in. We appreciate it. There's some guys that are now that will abuse the job and drink and things like that. But instead of being appreciate what you've got and work for what you've got. I've always worked, even as a young person, even before I got in the fire department. I had a place on Medina Lake. I built a cabin, which took me a long time, on waterfront cabin. And I started on that when I was around 35 years old and built that and enjoyed it out there. A private place and built it myself.
Do you still have it?
I have it, but I gave it to my sister. I have it, yes. And it's the waterfront property between Sea Catch and Milligan's Cove, and you can look across and see Red's Cove from there.
Oh, beautiful.
And it's just private, quiet, and I built it the way I wanted to build it, with a bay window and all that. A lot of work.
Yeah.
I can't do that today. It's just, you can't keep it up.
Yeah.
So I gave it to my sister, and see, I had 8 sisters, and I gave it to a sister that lives close to me here, and of course I can still go out there if I wanted to, but I don't have that much interest in it today. But I worked hard on building that myself. So that's some of the things I did.
And if you were to give some advice, which you've already given, you've said don't abuse the job, don't do drugs, don't do alcohol, respect your health. But if there was another piece of advice that you were to give the younger generation, or another piece of advice to give younger firefighters going into the job, what would that be?
This is like I say, it's to do your job right, respect the job, respect your people you work with, and most of all, respect your chiefs. That's the main thing, because they're guiding you and you work together. That's the thing. It's working together, not against each other or something like that. So that's what I think that my advice would be on that.
Excellent. Larry, I appreciate your time. It's been a pleasure. It's been very interesting.
Hope I gave you some ideas.
No, you did. That was amazing.
Let me know. Thanks, Caesar.
Thank you very much.
I enjoyed visiting with you.
Thank you for listening to Senior Stories in collaboration with Bill House Arts and the Elvira Cisneros Center in San Antonio, Texas.